on to our top political story, Jaya legacy battle that has hit AIADMK's preparation for local body polls. And now the internal tussle between EPS and OPS has become a hurdle for local polls. Now, as lack of signatures on authorization forms of the AIADMK cadre led to several AIADMK cadre filing nominations as independents. Now, OPS has written to EPS offering to sign the authorization forms for party candidates. EPS, however, is against the move. Bypolls for the local bodies are set to happen on July 9. All right, my colleague Dharani is joining us live on the broadcast for more on this. Dharani, we are learning that OPS has in fact written to EPS on the issue of authorization for local polls.
The local body bypolls in Tamil Nadu, they are scheduled to happen on July 9. So, yesterday OPS wrote a letter to EPS asking him to send the form so that he can sign them, which can lead for the AIADMK candidates to, contest the elections in two-leaf symbol. But unfortunately, EPS has, he has refused to heed to the request of OPS. So, at this point in time, with all the likelihood, the AIADMK candidates, they are most likely to, contest the local body bypolls as independent candidates with random symbols. Because since EPS has refused to sign the authorization forms, and he has also not sent the forms to OPS, both of them have not signed the form yet. So this automatically means that the AIADMK candidates, they have to contest the local body bypolls as independent candidates with random symbols. Today 3 p.m. that's the deadline for signing the forms. But sources inside the EPS camp, they are telling that OPS is not in the mindset to sign the forms, and he is telling that he is not ready to sign the forms. Because if OPS is signing the forms and sending the same for EPS to sign, it automatically means that he is acknowledging the coordinator and joint coordinator position within the party. But
right.
As we already know that the EPS camp is of the stand that both the positions of coordinators have expired by June 23 itself. So in all the likelihood, EPS is he is not likely to sign the form, and that will lead to the AIADMK candidates contesting the election as independent candidates.
Right,
so this will also put the AIADMK in a disadvantageous position, because the people of Tamil Nadu, they are known to AIADMK contesting the elections with two-leaf symbols. So if the AIADMK candidates are going to participate the election in a different symbol, they may lose some votes, and this will put them in a very disadvantageous position that we'll have to look into.
Right, Dharani, thank you for putting that into perspective for our viewers. And we are being joined by Dr. P. Pullarao, senior journalist and political analyst. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. So my first question to you is, there has been no end to this OPS versus EPS tussle in the AI over Jayalalitha's legacy. Now, my first question is that OPS was chosen twice by Jayalalitha, and he was in fact the first choice by Jaya. He was the party's face, yet the numbers are with EPS today.
You see, EPS was the chief minister for 4.5 years. Power has a way of making you grow, and EPS has grown. And EPS also was a good chief minister. EPS gave a surprisingly good performance in the assembly elections. They got a good number of seats, very good percentage of votes. Had there been no split from Sasikala's memory of 3-4% votes, they would have done much better. EPS stature is very high in Tamil Nadu today. Yes, you're right. OPS was chosen first by Jayalalitha. But Jayalalitha ji has gone in 2016. It's a long time since then. And both have had independent careers since then, OPS and EPS. And in this, EPS has gained the upper hand. Naturally, it would have been very good for the ADMK if both of them would have adjusted and pulled on for some more years. It would have become a very strong factor for ADMK. But unfortunately, their personalities have clashed, their coteries have clashed, and EPS feels that OPS is much less than him, and he should acknowledge all these factors of human ego and other things definitely come into play. Therefore, EPS now wants to have his own role, and he feels confident. And there is no election for another 4 years. There's ample time. And neither BJP or anyone will ask him to stop his fighting, because there's no purpose at the moment. Therefore, as we see, struggle will go on and both will split. There is no doubt.
Right.
As you've just mentioned, OPS made a gesture of conciliation today saying, I'll sign the forms. But EPS rejected it because that would be acknowledging his status as the chief coordinator of ADMK. So finally, they will definitely split. How it happens, who will get the upper hand? It all looks as if EPS has the upper hand at the moment till Sasikala comes in, and what role Sasikala will play. Just one small point. EPS is very strong in Western Tamil Nadu, while OPS is very strong in Southern Tamil Nadu. They belong to different communities. So all these factors are going to come into play, and we just have to see what happens in the next few days.
Right. So what do you think is, why do you think OPS is being sidelined, if at all?
You see, OPS is being sidelined for one reason, natural other than the human egos and the wish to dominate that goes along. But recently, OPS has made some signals that he wants Sasikala back in the party. OPS is hinting that all people who are on the party must come, meaning Sasikala can come in. And Sasikala and EPS have enmity which cannot be controlled or which cannot be solved, because Sasikala made EPS the chief minister and went to jail. Immediately, EPS rebelled against her. OPS and EPS combined and erased her presence from the party. The day OPS showed his hand that he was favoring Sasikala, he has made up with Sasikala and wants to use Sasikala against EPS. Naturally, EPS has then decided that OPS must go. It was a move by OPS in creating this enmity and fear for EPS that Sasikala will again come into play, and what cards she will have, nobody can guess. Therefore, that's the reason. I believe that OPS should not have done that. He should have gone along for some more time, because he has nothing to lose or nothing to gain by fighting with EPS at this juncture. He could have adopted a slightly more conciliatory situation. But his moves now have made enmity between EPS and OPS unresolvable. The natural culmination is going to be both will part ways, but when and on what terms? We have to see that.
But if we just go alone by the numbers, do you think EPS will be able to fill Jaya's and MGR's shoes?
You see, he has already filled their shoes. He has done well as chief minister for 4.5 years. He withstood a no confidence motion by Stalin and defeated that motion 4.5 years ago. And the cadre of AIADMK does not want to merge at any rate with the DMK. The cadre, the members, the ex-MLAs, ex-MPs, all the leaders, voters, they want a separate identity. And if they have to choose between EPS and OPS, they will see who can hold the party better. But as I mentioned, there's a small problem here. OPS belongs to the Tewar community, which is a very dominant community near Madurai and that area of southern Tamil Nadu. Their EPS has very little influence. Similarly, OPS has no influence in western Tamil Nadu. So they should be natural allies, because there's no overlapping of power and politics. But unfortunately, Sasikala hovering around, Sasikala threatening EPS, Sasikala not being quiet, has made all these problems for the party. Till the problem of Sasikala is solved by the BJP or by somebody else, this friction will continue and they will separate. There's no doubt about it, because EPS feels he cannot pull along with Sasikala at any rate. It's better to fight today than wait till Sasikala comes into the party. If OPS invites her openly into the party, there's no way you can stop Sasikala, because OPS today has that power as chief coordinator. That's why EPS wants to remove OPS so that Sasikala is blocked from entering the AIADMK. And who will get the symbol? The two-leaf symbol of AIADMK. Well, if there is a split, both will fight. The symbol will be frozen, and there's a system to decide who will get it. Just as you're witnessing in Bombay, who will get the Shiv Sena symbol? Will it be Eknath Shinde or Thackeray? So that fight will also go on in the next level. So we have to wait for that. It looks as if it is going to be a fight, separation, and division.
Right, so we'll have to wait and watch how things really pan out in AIADMK. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your views.
Thank you.